Stance on Zimbabwe, refusing to lift a ban on the veteran ruler and his inner circle, even as the European Union and Australia have relaxed their sanctions. Zimbabwe's president and his wife are the two remaining individuals on EU sanctions.
The three persons removed from the Office of the Foreign Assets Controls list are Nathan Shamyariram, a former minister who passed away last June, deceased former Chief Elections Officer Lovemore Sekaramai, and former spouse of a ZANU-PF politician Francis Nema. Now defunct diamond mining company Oryx, which the United Nations once accused of smuggling diamonds out of the Congo, as well as channeling funds to the Zimbabwe military, has also been removed. It's a relatively small step towards mending political relations. President Mugabe and his allies, as well as over 60 business entities, remain banned.
I think it's because in relation to the reasons why they started the sanctions or they imposed the sanctions in the first place, they remain unsatisfied with the levels of reform in Zimbabwe, whether it relates to democracy.
He believes Zimbabwe could do more to have the sanctions removed.
The Zimbabwean government tends to use sanctions as an excuse as to not reform the economy, as to not further democratize and say we don't have the capacity, we can't do business, we can't trade, amongst other things. But the reality of the matter is they have not done enough to try and get the United States to remove these sanctions on the basis of bilateral agreements or bilateral understanding about what needs to be done in order for these sanctions to be removed.
Zimbabwe denies the charge. In a telephone interview, the Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Joey Bima, told the SABC that the country has done all it can to have the sanctions removed and that the final decision rests solely with the United States and its Congress. Zimbabwe maintains that the embargo is illegal and unwarranted. In 2003, the United States Treasury Department slapped sanctions on President Mugabe, his inner circle, and companies it believes were assisting in undermining democracy in the country. Bima says while the EU looks set to remove the ban on President Mugabe and his wife Grace in its February 2016 review, the United States has steadfastly refused to relax its sanctions regime. Shingai Nyoka, SABC News, Harare, Zimbabwe.